Morning, Kalimera. I want to welcome our visitors today. If you're brand new to our area and would like to join our parish, please fill out one of the white cards that are in the pews in front of you and give them to one of our greeters who I'll introduce at the end, and they will be happy to connect you with our church. Just a couple of announcements today to get these out of the way. There will be 2 divine liturgies celebrated this week. The first one will be Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It's the Feast of St. Nicholas. Many of you are celebrating your name days. If you're a Nicholas or a Nicole, your name day is on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Well, it's on Tuesday all day, but you can celebrate it with liturgy at 10 o'clock. And Friday we have divine liturgy for the Feast of St. Anna. That's also at 10 o'clock on Friday. Today is the Feast of St. Barbara. I know a couple Barbaras here. Going to pull out for your name day. Going to pull out Mom, who's watching on the computer. Today is her name day. And we also have a couple of Stavros in our church, and their name day, if your name is Stavros, your name day is tomorrow. There is a luncheon that Philoptochos is doing after church. It's their annual shoe drive to give shoes to school children. I believe this year in Pasco County who don't have shoes. Some kids are hoping for big toys for Christmas, and these kids are just hoping to have something to put on their feet to walk around in. And last but not least, tonight at 5 o'clock, we have our young adults meeting for the month. If you'd like to join us, please come from 5 to 7:30. And if you did not RSVP, just tell me when you come up for Andidron or send me a text, just so we get enough food to have tonight at the meeting. Believe it or not, I'm filled with joy today. My voice is not filled with joy today. But I am overjoyed because I used it up yesterday at a retreat we had, and the topic of the retreat was encouragement. And after talking for, 6 hours, plus the Divine Liturgy, I went down to Sarasota last night for Vespers for like another 3 hours. And so my spirit is very joyful, but the rest of the body is not cooperating so much today. But I'm joyful because we have cough drops, and someone in the community who works in a health food store gave me this beautiful spray you can use to revive like a dead voice, which is why my voice has become from dead to alive today. So I'm filled with joy. And one of the reasons for joy is when we give something, we have joy. Does anyone ever, I know that we don't take joy sitting in traffic at the mall during the Christmas season. I certainly don't take joy in that. But when I'm searching around for the perfect gift for a good friend or family member, I have great joy in the search. And when I find the thing that I want to get, like the other night, my son is not in here, right? The other night, I snuck out of the house to the toy store. And I'm hunting around for the perfect gift for my son's birthday this week and for Christmas. And so I hunted around all through the store, and I was enjoying the time that I was there. And then when I found the thing that I wanted to get for him, I had joy. Even when I looked at the price tag, I still had joy. My joy was tempered a little bit. And then when I started to think how I'm going to explain that, at home with our finances. But Lisa and I share the same joy in buying gifts for him. And I'm thinking about the joy he's going to have when he opens the things that I bought for him. And I'm thinking about the joy he's going to have when he uses the things that I bought for him. All right? Now, I'm not going to receive anything other than witnessing his joy. I'm just giving. I'm not expecting anything in return. I hope that I will see him joyful. There's something in the Bible that says there's greater joy to give than to receive. On Nicholas's birthday, I'm not going to receive anything. I'm going to receive anything material. I'm going to receive the joy that our son is going to have a wonderful time opening the gifts that we have bought for him. So every time we hear the word giving in church, we seem to have like a bad connotation. And I don't know where that comes from. In fact, a parishioner a couple weeks ago said to me, and I appreciate the comment, he says, Father, when you talk about giving, you don't have any joy when you're talking about it. You say it in a apologetic way. And I said, you know what, you're right, and thank you for that constructive comment. I have plenty of room for growth. When you make criticism, if it's constructive, I welcome it. If it's destructive, keep it to yourself. But he's right. The person who made this comment to me is right. Because every time, from the time I was a child, when we heard about giving in church, it was always like, come here, let me twist your arm and see how much money falls out of it. And so it took all the joy out of that. And so I've been conditioned from childhood to think, giving in the church equals bad things. So I'm priest in church, and I don't want to talk about giving because it's a bad thing. And so actually, this conversation I had kind of fundamentally changed my attitude on that. Because giving is a great thing. It feels good to give. It feels good to give to anything. It feels good to give somebody a compliment. Has anyone ever given somebody a compliment and felt bad while doing it? Anybody? I would like to hear about that experience because I don't even think that's possible. All right? When you are giving a compliment to somebody, it feels good to take from you and to give to somebody else because you know that they're going to feel good hearing it. Has anyone ever felt terrible giving a gift to their own child or to their spouse or to their friend? Right? We don't feel good. We don't feel bad about those things. We feel awesome about those things. It's a great feeling to do that. And that's the kind of feeling that we should have when we're giving anything, whether it's to the church, to a friend, to a spouse, to a child, to our jobs. Tomorrow we're going to give our time to our jobs. We're going to give our talent. We should be doing that with joy. And in fact, you're not really giving to your work, you're exchanging. You give time and talent, and then you get a paycheck. All right? So that's not even real giving. That's just exchanging. Real giving is giving with nothing in return. So the gospel lesson this morning is about giving. Jesus gave a woman a new lease on life. This woman who had been bent over for 18 years, and she couldn't enjoy her life. Jesus gave her a new life. He gave her joy again. And the way he did it, it upset some people. All the people in the temple, they said, hey, wait a minute. You can't do that. It's the Sabbath. That's work. When Jesus said, are you kidding me? Is it wrong to give joy? I mean, you take away your donkey from the manger and you lead it away to give it some water so that your animal is going to have some joy. Shouldn't I give some joy to this lady who hasn't had any joy in 18 years? You people got it all wrong. You're so fixated on the rules of your organization that you forgot the why of your organization. We exist to spread joy. So the thrust of our organization here, our church, is not these forms. I mean, we got to have the forms. That tells us that we're going to be able to balance our budget. But what happens to these forms with the money that you give on them? They're going to go to the office. They're going to get entered into a computer. We're going to collect some checks. And what are we going to do with those checks? We're going to do things that bring joy to people. You're going to pay my salary. And when I go visit somebody in the hospital and I bring them some joy, do you know who's bringing them joy? Everybody who's sitting in this church that contributed to that effort. I'm going to contribute the time. You're going to contribute the resources to that. Now, some of you are going to contribute talent, like the choir. Do we all enjoy the choir singing? Does anyone not have joy because the choir sang today? So you brought a lot of joy to us today. All right? So you give the talent, and we receive the joy. You give the time, and you receive joy. Is anyone upset that they came to church today? You might be upset that I'm talking too long, but you're hopefully not upset that you came here today. So you gave your time, and you have joy. All right? So our stewardship is time, talent, and treasure, but it's joy. And if you don't want to give with joy, don't give. Don't give. If you don't have joy today with your form, don't give the form today. Come back in a week or 2 or 3 when you have joy, and give with joy. Now, I learned something about the time and the talent and the treasure. We all know what treasure is. That's money. And we know what talent is. But here's a new way to look at time. All right? If I say, what's the time that you're going to give? And someone says, I'm going to give time to be on the parish council. I'm going to give time to be in the choir. That's talent. You give talent to do those things. Time is something else. I want you to think about time in a different way. Time is the time that you are going to give personally and privately to your spiritual growth. When you make a pledge of time, there's nowhere on this form that says pledge of time. We only ask for talent and for treasure. The pledge of time is your time to pray to God, your time to read the Bible, your time to learn about the faith, your time to talk about the faith. In fact, the most important pledge you make is of your time. Because what good is your treasure and even your talent if you're not cultivating a relationship with Christ? So yes, we're filling out this form, a piece of paper, but fill out a form inside of you that says, this is the time I'm going to give. I'm going to give time to read the Bible. I'm going to give time to pray. I'm going to give time maybe to read a book about orthodoxy. I'm going to give time maybe to go take a class, go to Bible study, go to the next retreat. I'm going to give time to those things. Make that pledge in your heart today. And then make a pledge of your talent and say, I have something that I'm going to give to the church so that the church can spread joy to people. Like the choir brings joy. Sunday school brings the joy of Jesus to our children. Then there's so many other ministries that their whole purpose is to bring joy. And then I'm going to pay whatever I can give in joy so that we can have this beautiful building that brings us joy. So we can have this beautiful complex where we do all these joyful activities. So we can pay my salary, Charlie, the people that work here, so that we can do the ministries that the focus of these ministries is the joy of Christ. Right? So giving is a wonderful thing. Giving is a wonderful, joyful thing. And I want us to look at it that way. And there's so much need for joy. And one other thing about the time, because I know the time is passing fast. You give time to spread the joy of Christ to somebody. I have a small group of, I have many friends, but I have a small group of people that we have a group chat. And we check in, about 8 of us, once a week, every other week. And this week I had, a heartbreaking conversation with 2 people of that group of 8 that are really hurting. And I was having a conversation with the others, and I said, look, in our group of 8 people who are probably above average people, at the very least we're average people, but in our faith we're above average because we're always talking about Christ. We're always going to church. 2 out of these 8 are really hurting. And that's in an above average group of people. So I can imagine the hurts that are in our own building. If 1 out of 4 of the people that are so dedicated in this group are like this, I can imagine what there is out there. So there's a great need to spread the joy, not only through the ministries of the church, but just through simple conversation. Help bring joy to the people maybe that are in the pews right next to you that need some joy. All right? And that involves time. And when people say, when you say it like that, I'd rather just give you money and not give the time, because it's easier. But it's actually the hardest thing to give on the stewardship is the time. And it's to give the time to God and to give the time to your neighbor that really needs it. So with that, I'm asking the ushers to bring the baskets up here. And I'm asking Alkis, our president, to come here. To receive my offering this year with joy. Thank you for that. And I'm asking the parish council if they're going to come up here, and all the parish leadership that I sent you emails, come up here and bring your forms and bring them with happiness to give here. Put the things in there. All right, and now we're going to pass this through the church. Whoever brought their forms today, please put them in there. And if you didn't bring your form today, bring it next week or as soon as you can. We don't have a big thermometer that says how much we've given. We don't have even a goal, because we're not giving to a goal. We're giving to Christ. This is your gift to Christ. And remember about the joy of giving. There is so much joy in this, and the purpose of this church is to spread that joy.
So